At 66, you can look so good that people will try to guess your age and be off by decades. But the most interesting thing about the story of the amazing woman Eliane Moreto isn't her appearance. Something else is far more important. She continues to exercise, gradually increasing her workouts, focusing on her arm and shoulder muscles, maintaining a passion for an active lifestyle, and refusing to let age stop her. Today, we'll explore exactly what Elian does and what you can learn from it. Not to look 30 at 66, but to maintain strength, mobility, energy, and independence for as long as possible. So, watch this video until the end. It'll be interesting and useful. So, let's get started. Let's start with the most obvious. Elian works out regularly. And there's an important nuance here. For healthy aging, exercise isn't just about keeping fit. After a certain age, muscles literally become one of the body's most important resources. With age, a person naturally loses muscle mass and strength, and a lack of movement can significantly accelerate this process. As a result, it becomes more difficult to climb stairs, carry bags, get up from a chair, maintain balance, and perform ordinary everyday tasks. Therefore, exercising after 50 or 60 isn't just a way to look good in the mirror. It's an investment in how independent you'll be in 10, 15, or 20 years. That's why Elian's story is interesting, not as a story of a woman who conquered old age, but as an example of how physical fitness continues to develop even in adulthood. Age doesn't mean the body can no longer adapt to stress. On the contrary, muscles respond to regular strength training even in older people. Of course, a training program should take into account your health, fitness level, and any limitations. But the principle itself is very simple. Give your muscles a reason to stay strong. It's especially interesting that Elian devotes a lot of attention to her arms and shoulders. At first glance, this may seem like a purely aesthetic choice, but strong shoulders and arms have a very practical purpose. They're involved in a huge number of everyday movements. When we lift objects, open a heavy door, put things on an overhead shelf, carry groceries, or simply try to maintain balance during a sudden movement. Therefore, training your upper body isn't just about looks. There's another important point. As you get stronger, it's easier to maintain your overall level of physical activity. Weakness often creates a vicious cycle. It becomes difficult to move, you move less, your muscles are even less engaged, and your strength declines even further. Strength training helps break this cycle. So, if you want to adopt one of Elian's principles, you don't necessarily have to buy an expensive membership and spend 2 hours at the gym right away. You can start with 2 or 3 strength training sessions per week, gradually strengthening your legs, back, core, arms, and shoulders. But here comes one of the most important details of her approach. Elian doesn't just train, she consistently intensifies her training. This is the principle of progressive load, and it's what distinguishes training that maintains a movement habit from training that truly forces the body to adapt. If a person performs exactly the same exercises with the same weight, number of reps, and intensity for years, the body gradually gets used to this load. It can still be beneficial for activity, coordination, and overall well-being, but the incentive for further development diminishes. Therefore, progression can be very simple. Slightly increase the weight, add 1 or 2 reps, improve technique, make the movement more controlled, or gradually increase the duration of the workout. Another principle evident in Elian's story is that she doesn't lose enthusiasm over the years. And this is perhaps far more important than any specific workout, because longevity isn't determined by a perfect 3-week program, but by the ability to maintain activity over the years. Many people begin training with a huge amount of motivation. They buy gym clothes, create the perfect schedule, promise themselves to exercise every day, and then, after a month, it's all over. A different strategy is much more valuable for the body. Choosing an activity level you're truly willing to maintain long term. Elian also loves to dress well and doesn't let age dictate how she should look. This may seem completely unrelated to health, but it's important to understand age doesn't have to mean giving up on self-interest. Taking care of your appearance alone doesn't make you healthier. New clothes won't strengthen your muscles or reduce your risk of falling, but your self-image can influence your behavior. When you continue to perceive yourself as an active person who cares about what you see in the mirror, it's psychologically easier for you to maintain habits of self-care, movement, socializing, and activity. It's especially worth noting that Elian is confident in front of the camera and isn't shy about herself. Learning to embrace your appearance can be a surprisingly important part of active aging. Many people gradually begin to limit themselves because of thoughts like, at my age, it's no longer appropriate to dress like this. I can't be noticed anymore, or I shouldn't be doing this anymore. And at some point, a person begins to age not only physically but also socially, simply by cutting back on the things they allow themselves. So, one of the most useful takeaways here has nothing to do with dumbbells at all. You don't have to wait until a certain age to start living the way you want. If you want to exercise, have your photo taken, travel, dress well, learn new things, or simply be noticed, age alone isn't a compelling reason to give it up. And one more thing, don't make age an excuse for inactivity, but don't make it your enemy either. At 66, your body no longer has to function the same way it did at 25. The goal of healthy aging isn't to pretend you're 25 again. The goal is to be as strong, mobile, active, and independent as possible at your age. This is perhaps the most useful idea for each of us. Youth can't be bought in a bottle of pills or achieved through one secret exercise. But you can, every day, slightly increase the likelihood that in 10 years you'll be stronger, more mobile, and more active than you would have been without these habits.
Friends, what do you think of this woman? Write your opinion in the comments. If this video was useful to you, then please like it and share the link with those who might find it particularly useful. We also recommend watching this video that's currently appearing on your screen.